Good evening, a beautiful Sunday afternoon. You wouldn't believe it's almost summer and it's only April. Now, I'm Barry R Frankish and welcome to Frankishly Speaking, my new show once a fortnight on the Keep On Chatting network. Now, each and every episode, a brilliant guest from all walks of the paranormal world. Now, tonight is no exception. First of all, though, I would like to thank my previous guest, all the way from the United States of America, Mr. Chris George, park ranger, brilliant guy. I mean, in fact, it's so brilliant, the show went over by nearly an hour. I mean, that's phenomenal. Now, tonight, before we persevere, I'll get on with the show. As always, all shows, if you would like to be a guest on this particular show, talk to myself, please send me a message, PM me, even on my Frankishly Speaking Facebook group. Pop a little message on there and we'll see what we can do for you. Now, tonight's guest, what can we say? I have had the pleasure of speaking to this guest tonight a couple of years back on Paranormal Radio. What can I say about it? She's a brilliant, down-to-earth individual. Leaves me no further ado to introduce to you Miss Arabella Belle Rose. Good evening.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
I think there's something wrong with the audio.
Oh, no, we're not having gremlins already, are we?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you, I'm afraid.
We're having gremlins. We don't want gremlins. Bear with me.
I can't hear you.
Let's have a look. Sound. Technology.
Hello?
Yes. Hello. Hear me now?
No, not really.
Let's try my little volume switch. Let's see what we can do. Any better?
Oh, nearly.
Nearly. How's that?
It's like EVP or something. I'm trying to decode like what you're saying.
Is there anybody there?
I can hear that.
Any better? Any better?
Oh, I got something.
You got a new.
I'm ghost hunting at the moment with all the. I can't. Oh no! Just our luck. What's going on?
Hello. Any better?
Oh, I'm afraid it's still not good. I can't hear.
I can hear you perfectly as well. Oh, we don't want this.
Right. Hello.
Hello. We've had such a lovely chat before the show as well.
Still can't hear.
I do apologise for this, folks. We're having technical gremlins at the moment.
Oh,
How's that? Any better?
Okay.
How's it?
Sorry, 1 minute. It's annoying because I can't hear you at all.
I can hear you perfectly as well. Okay, folks, we're having a slight difficulty at the moment, so bear with us while normal service will resume shortly.
Because I can't hear Barry, I don't know if I should just, Barry, you're going to have to probably just nod because I can't hear you. So I think the best course of action is for me to tell my ghost story.
That's fine. That's fine. What I was going to do, Arabella.
Thumbs up because I generally can't hear you. Right. Okay. This is interesting. Not how we intended it, but we're going to go with it. Hi, everyone. Okay, so let me start off with I'm actually originally from Nottinghamshire. I grew up in a Georgian house. It was very old. And yeah, you guessed it, it was haunted. it was weird because when I was little, I didn't see anything, and my mother did. So in all, she saw 4 apparitions. She saw a grey lady in the house. She saw a man, a transparent man in the garden, and then she saw a little boy that looked like the spitting image of my brother running towards her, shouting "mummy," and then just vanishing into thin air. And so when she, well, I'm not saying she's old, as she got older, she lost the sight, but then I gained it. So from the age of 11, I would say, I started like sensing things in the house, and I had no idea about, I'm an empath. I can sense spiritual energy. So it's quite a confusing time for me. Because I remember almost on a daily basis, something paranormal would happen. And I remember the first time I saw this grey lady, Lucy, I used to call her, was in the study, and she was transparent. I never saw her face, and she was just watching me. And that kind of scared me. But then from that moment on, I started seeing her on a daily basis. And I'm just going to pause there, because what I'm going to do to make this podcast, hopefully working again, is going to try and log off and come back again. So please bear with me. I'm really sorry. Okay, so I'm all new to this. So, okay, 1 minute.
Okay, folks, Arabella's just disappeared for a moment. We are having slight technical issues now. It does seem people can hear us both, but Arabella's system is a bit touchy at the moment. So hopefully when she pops back on, she will be audible. Let's hope. In the meantime, here's some music. Let's have a look. Okay, now, as I was saying previously, this is a brand new show to myself. I'm Barry R Frankish, and this is Frankishly Speaking. Now, the backdrop, you see, are we back in, Arabella?
I'm back.
Hello.
I still can't hear you.
Oh, no.
I know. Oh, this is really, really not good. I
don't know what to suggest here, because, I can hear you perfectly.
I can't hear. This is actually really annoying, because I really want to. Yeah. It's annoying because I see people say, "Oh, we can both hear you fine." And yet, oh, hang on. I don't know if I caught something. Can you say something?
I can hear you perfectly.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Yes!
Hallelujah!
Are we back? Brilliant.
Oh, dearie me. I'm sweating. I was like, no.
We can't even blame Skype on this one either, because we're not using Skype.
We'll just put it down to paranormal stuff. I'm in a haunted kitchen anyway.
That's exactly what I'm going to say to you. Now, yeah. Arabella, hello. We can hear each other. I can hear you. We can see each other perfectly. I hope the folks at home can hear us and see us both. Now, tonight's show, I was going to introduce yourself as, but I think you've already done that bit for us. Now, you've been involved with paranormal for a lot of years now, and but it wasn't. Yeah, well, I'd like to say once again, we'll start again. I'd like to thank you for a start for taking the time out of your schedule to join me on this show tonight. And for those of people that don't know you, who exactly are you, and how did you become involved in what you do?
Okay, so as you guessed, my name's Arabella. And I became involved in it. I don't know how much they heard previously before the sound came back on again. But basically, I grew up in a haunted house, and so that kind of sparked my interest with everything like paranormal. I just became so interested in what I was witnessing. To be honest, I thought I was going insane in my early years, because I was the only one witnessing and seeing stuff. And then when things actually started to make themselves more active in regards to the paranormal activity happening around the house, then people started taking notice, like my family started taking notice. But at the start I thought they thought, oh, she's got a very active imagination, she's seeing things. And for a while, yeah, I thought that was true, but then it just kept on happening. Like there were things I couldn't explain happening, like footsteps running up and down the landing. When I was home alone, the dogs growling. I remember one time I was in my room, and it was a very old house, Georgian, and my bedroom door started to slowly open by itself, and I screamed my head off, and it stopped. And then I've got so many stories of like night paralysis, seeing figures running through the walls, mimicking spirit of my mother's voice, which even happens to this day. So yeah, a lot of things sparked my interest off, really, and it's just kind of grown from there.
Now, Arabella, you, I understand, grew up on the outskirts of Nottinghamshire.
I did.
Yeah, but not too far from where I live myself. I mean, what you experience would be to some a true investigator's dream, but what's it actually like to live in an haunted house? I mean, is it a nightmare or is it a dream?
I actually love that question. It's difficult because, as I was saying, when I was growing up, it's hard to explain, but I'm sure many people who are watching this will understand. This energy, I could sense energy. I could sometimes see energy, and I think there was a lot. I was thinking about this earlier. There's a lot of different factors of what happened in that house in regards to. I believe now, looking back on it, the spirit Lucy. I wasn't scared of her when I was growing up. It's only when I reached the age of about 13, 14 that I started to be wary, because she wasn't being very friendly, to be honest. I was having night paralysis. I felt constantly watched. And even though the activity is very, very interesting, at night time it wasn't great, because I used to wake up at around 2, 3, ironic, the witching hour. And I just used to hear, it was weird, I used to hear doors slamming downstairs, footsteps, voices. And whenever I used to go to the loo at night, I used to hate this bit, because I had to walk across the landing, and I could look down, and we had a hallway, and always in the hallway looking back at me, I couldn't see her face, was Lucy staring at me. Every time I used to have a nightmare, I just felt like she was like running like behind me, trying to scare me, when I just went into my parents' room and I was scared. But no, I mean, when I got older, I did kind of relish in the fact that I've got a haunted house. So my friends used to come over, and I remember one night they were scared because they were hearing things, and I just wanted to go to sleep. So we were in the guest room, and she heard footsteps. We heard footsteps on the wooden floorboards, like going around the bedroom. And she's like, Arabella, I don't like this. And I was like, oh, it's fine. It happens all the time. And then apparently, because I had a piano, she was like, I heard the piano playing as well. And I was like, it's fine, just go back to sleep. But no, I became more wary of the ghost, definitely. But in a way I wanted to help her, but I didn't know how. But no, it was definitely interesting. And that, even when we moved down here to West Sussex, the activity still happened. So yeah, even more so actually, because up in where I used to live, the activity, I would say, it was just like the odd sound, footsteps and voices and everything. But actually, when I moved down here to West Sussex, I started seeing full apparitions. So yeah, that was interesting.
Now, with your previous house in Nottinghamshire, what kind of age were you when you started experiencing these strange phenomena?
I believe I was about 11. And interesting because you hear, I believe, in regards to paranormal activity, when you hit the age of puberty, you're more, there's something to do with the energy. I can't exactly remember what, but there is something to do with the energy. And when you're around that age, you know, you give off a lot of energy, and yeah, something to do with that.
Yeah. Now, what kind of age were you when you realised what your experience wasn't experienced by everyone else? When did you realise things weren't quite normal?
I started to, well, I actually learned that pretty quickly, because well, when I was growing up, my mother used to tell me these ghost stories of, oh, I used to see a grey lady, and I used to see ghosts in the garden. And then when stuff actually started to happen, I felt quite frustrated, because I didn't think anyone would believe me. And they said it so casually. I was like, Mama, I'm seeing this and that. And they're like, oh yes, darling. And that really frustrated me. I was like, no, but you don't understand. It's not normal. I don't think it is anyway. But now I learned pretty quickly that I was, should I say, a bit different, because I had a bit of spiritual abilities, and as well as witnessing all those things in my childhood home, I sometimes even used to have visions and astral projection dreams whilst growing up. So yeah, I learned pretty quickly that I was different. Everything was different.
Astral projection, now that does intrigue me about that topic. Now, regarding your house, though, I mean, what experience or experience? I mean, how did this actually make you feel? I mean, there must have been times you felt alone and afraid. I mean, who did you confide in?
I actually didn't confide in anyone, to be honest. I just rolled with the poltergeist punches, as it were. But no, I didn't confide in anyone, because I was just really confused myself. So the atmosphere was very, very heavy. It just felt like you were constantly being watched, and sometimes it was intimidating, especially at night time. I used to hate nighttime, because in my room I used to have my bed, and then I used to have a long mirror. So basically I could see anyone who came in and out of my room. And one night I remember I woke up and I saw everyone else was in bed. It was like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I woke up and I saw this very, very tall, dark figure. It wasn't human, because the energy radiating from it was just not nice at all. And I think I told it to F off, and I said, and then I tried to go back to sleep. But no, during those times, actually, when I was scared and everything, I actually just used to pray, and all of my, I just felt protected through prayer. And even to this day, if there's any negativity or anything, I rebuke it, and then I'm fine. But I didn't really confide in anyone apart from that.
Yeah. Now, I mean, regarding religion and things like that, there's a question I want to ask you a bit later on. But I mean, for someone listening now who's not had any paranormal experience whatsoever, and they think it's a load of hocus pocus, pardon the pun. I mean, can you give us an understanding what it's like to actually live in a house with so much activity on a daily basis?
It's weird, because for me it was like, because I became so immersed in this weird energy, this weird atmosphere. I became quite obsessed with it, to be honest, because obviously it was something new, it was something different. I just wanted to find out more and more. But I became so immersed and so engulfed in this energy that I was kind of in like hopefully this makes sense, like a time stood still, like a time warp in a way. Like everything just happened really slowly, and then when I went outside, it was a completely different energy. Like when I used to go to school in Lincoln and whatnot, it was different energy. But even then, when I was in the cathedral, when I was around the Bale Gate, I used to pick up on like energies, like haunted bits. And then I remember when I started college there in Lincoln, and I always used to go back at the end of the day. There was that heavy atmosphere and energy surrounding the house, and it was quite weird. But I mean, my brother, I'm youngest of 3, my second to oldest brother, he didn't believe in ghosts and everything. He thought I was just making it up, and that's totally understandable. But obviously I was experiencing all of this, and yeah, it was frustrating. But then he actually went to a place, I believe it was called St. John's Asylum. It used to be an old asylum in Lincoln, and he went there one time because it was known to be haunted, and he saw a ghost. And yeah, he was so scared he ran out the building. But no, I mean, it's different, because I think I think it really depends on the haunting, to be honest. So the energy, no haunted house has the same energy, in my opinion. So it does vary, really. But it's a weird atmosphere. It's like, it's just, the best way I can describe it is someone watching you. And at first I thought it was residual energy in the house, which probably would have happened because a lot of family dramas and whatnot took place there. But no, it certainly is interesting. If not intimidating at times, if you don't really understand the energy, if you don't really understand the paranormal realm. And
Yeah.
I had to equip myself with the knowledge. So whenever I used to go to school in my break times, I used to Google and search and do as much research as I could to, get knowledge about.
I mean, you must have felt like you didn't feel like you belonged in your own home at times, surely.
You what? Sorry.
I'm guessing that sometimes you felt like a stranger in your own house.
Yeah, you did a bit. Because it's just like, kind of, in a way, it was like you felt in a way like an intruder. Like that's an energy I sometimes felt from when I saw Lucy. And the weird thing about Lucy, the ghost, I don't know why I named her that, but ironically now I have a dog called Lucy, so yeah. I don't know how that works. But no, she did intimidate me at first, because I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a famous photo, like an outline of a ghost going down some stairs, and you can see the outline. It looks like a typical ghoul, but you can't see any detail, and that's what Lucy looked like to me. But I didn't see, apart from Lucy, I didn't see any other spirit in that house. Yeah, thankfully, because that would have really scared me.
I mean, how did you relax in your own home and knowing that every move was being scrutinised?
I really properly relaxed, to be honest, because I knew, because at night time, because it was weird, because and I used to put the radio on. I used to listen to like classical FM, or the politics show, anything which had someone talking, so I'd just be distracted from the energy that was around. It was really, really, I felt like, I didn't know if it was my imagination, but looking back on it, obviously now I realize that I was very in tune with energy. I could detect. And my grandmother, bless her, she was so spiritual, and she said that I had a gift and everything like that. So I took comfort in knowing that they recognize that there possibly might be something paranormal going on in regards to me sensing stuff. But at the same time, I couldn't exactly, I felt a bit crazy, to be honest, because I used to be hooked on this film called The Others, Nicole Kidman and the children. Have you ever seen that film?
I have, yes. I think I have, yeah. I've seen a couple of Nicole Kidmans.
It used to scare the hell out of me. Like when they're hiding in the wardrobe, and she just, yeah. But I used to be a bit fixated on that, to be honest. And I didn't know if it was my imagination, but just more and more stuff kept happening. And yeah, I just realized things moving on their own. Even one of my dolls moved on its own one night, which was not fun. When I was trying to sleep. And it was night time as well, so I had this shelf of dolls in my room, and I don't want to say it the wrong way, but my parents had just come back from Jamaica, and in that part of the world, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe some bit of that country do black magic, as well as Africa and everything. So they brought me back a doll. And funnily enough, this was the doll that moved on its own, whose head just tilted very slightly one night. And yeah. I used to swear a lot when I I almost thought it was like, oh, don't worry, me swearing at it will, yeah. But I think when you're that age, you just swear at something and think it will go away. But prayer actually makes it go away. So, that was anyway.
Has there ever been any research on your house or previous occupants?
What, in my old house?
Yes. Yeah.
So before my parents moved in there, our next door neighbours actually used to own the house, and they actually said that there was something in the house. To my mum, who then told me much later on when I was old enough and obsessed with the paranormal thing. But apparently there was human hair found in the wall. I know that the house used to be an old farmhouse. I won't give the name of the house because I'm hoping that the tenants of the house right now aren't watching this, because they'll be so scared. But no, it used to be a farmhouse, and it was considered the oldest house in the village. And yeah, that's kind of all I know about it, really.
What do you believe was the catalyst for all the activity? I mean, was there a particular time? Is it just started and for no particular reason, or?
Well, I was actually talking to my mother about it yesterday. She because I was interested about the paranormal experiences she's had, and she said to me that she did, when we were upstairs in our room when we were very young, me and my brothers. She actually did a spirit board downstairs, and in my opinion, that probably invited something in. I mean, curiosity got the better on me. I did a spirit board about 2 years ago. But in my opinion, you should never ever do, if you're going to do that stuff, you should never do it when young children are in the house. You could invite anything in, and the children, it's just, yeah. But the activity started, well, I first started noticing the activity when I was about 11, and then the activity in that particular house did not stop until I was about 16.
Has anyone actually done a cleansing on the property, or has it just left its own devices?
I believe it's been left to its own devices, and it's possibly a B&B now, so.
Now, Arabella, I want to go on to yourself for a little bit. Now, collectively, over the years, people have spent thousands of pounds on, or even dollars on products they hope can detect ghosts and spirits. In my opinion, money down the drain. Now, why spend all this money when it is believed that we already possess this ability? I mean, some more than others. I mean, for example, sensitivity and empaths. I believe you're an empath yourself, aren't you?
I am, yes. I've recently just come to that conclusion, because it's recently, my spiritual abilities have recently got stronger, and actually very recently, about 2 weeks ago, I was just bombarded with this massive spiritual energy. I actually even joined a group on Facebook, and basically people put photos up of themselves, and you're meant to see if you can pick up anything from those photos. And I just thought I'd try it, just, yeah. So I went on there, and I was drawn to this photo, and I just had this image in my head of 3 men at night time in a neighborhood village in America. It was very detailed what I saw, and I saw that someone was killed. One of the men was killed. And then I said to the person who had put the photo up, I don't know why, I'm getting a sibling energy around you. And I explained what I saw, and then she's like, my brother was actually murdered at night time by 2 men in the middle of the street with street lamps, everything that I described. And then another time, I had a couple were names like I guess stuff that I shouldn't have known, to be honest.
Yeah.
But in regards to people using electronic equipment and EVPs and all that lot, I myself sometimes do. But I believe, everyone is gifted. I mean, the way I see it is when we grow up, when we're young, are like babies, they are so much more in tune with the spiritual realm than we are, because obviously they've just left the spiritual. And in my opinion, as we get older, we lose touch with that side, because society is telling us all these things and molding us into a good citizen and whatnot. But I think everyone has the ability, but it just kind of makes things more easier, I believe. That's why people use these electronic equipment to get in touch, because for example, there's this, I watch Ghost Adventures, there's this thing that they have on there called the paranormal puck, and also this EVP machine, and basically it says the word that, like, the spirit can say something relevant and then it pops up, and I think that's a really good idea. But yeah, I think technology just makes it a lot easier to communicate with spirits, if any. And after all, spirits do actually use electronic equipment to connect. So they use the energy from that.
Now, I want to zip back a little bit to a previous question regarding your old house. Now, Steve Sanderson's set a good, interesting question. I mean, did you ever try to capture any evidence, i.e., motion detectors, cameras, photography, whatever?
I did. Well, I had this old little camera, and I went into the dining room, which was the one of the most haunted, heavy, subdued energy areas of the house. And I took a photo, and an orb came up, but I don't. That's a really good question, because looking back on it now, knowing me now, I would have taken lots of photos. But during that time, I think I was just so overwhelmed with all these things I was experiencing. I mean, my friend witnessed a few things while she was staying in the house. But actually, I don't think we actually tried to, do like any voice recordings or anything. It was mainly just because Lucy, it was interesting. Lucy wasn't, she was very, very transparent. But you could definitely tell, a woman was there. She was there. But I mean, it's weird because the energy, whenever she was active, whenever she would do something, there was like this wave of energy hit me, and then if she left the room, like, slowly that energy would subside and then it would come back again. So it's almost like she was going in and out of the room. But no, I wish I had actually, but I think I made up for that in regards to when I moved down here, and I actually did catch a lot of photos. I don't know if you've seen my photos.
I've seen a few, I must admit, but I must admit recently I'm not getting a lot of time online, you see. So
yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
but, definitely.
Yeah, no, I have managed to capture some things down here, but unfortunately, because I didn't really understand the spiritual realm, and I had a lot of things going on personally up there, I didn't really capture well, anything really on camera. But I've got lots of experiences that I'll remember. So yeah.
I mean, you mentioned technology and being like an aid and a guidance. Do you think, in a way, it can be an hindrance as well? Are we becoming too reliant on technology rather than using our own senses?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think some people, quite understandably, I think they are scared of kind of delving into those senses, so those particular spiritual senses. I mean, because nowadays, if someone there's this great Netflix show actually called Survivor of Death, and it talks about all the mediumship and people sensing spirits and everything. But I think if you're curious about that realm, and it's always quite nerve-wracking, really, because I remember I had to do this. I had to really let go of like my insecurities in regards to delving into the spiritual realm. I just had to go with it. I just had to trust the energy. But obviously, understandably, at the end of the day, the spiritual realm, you know, there are bad spirits as well. There are good spirits. It's like in the world, there are good people, there are bad people. It's no exception. But you know, it just so happens that the good spirits and bad spirits also, you know, that there are demons and whatnot, which you have to be very careful with. So I think that's why some people become a bit too reliant on technology, because they are scared a bit, or don't really know how to harness, or or just progress their spiritual abilities, really.
Now, you mentioned the D word there. I mean, it's not my favorite word, to be honest with you.
The D word.
Now, do you believe this is commercial? This is more of a commercial aspect, right? Because we've gone through the aspects of ghost hunting from day one, from the early days of Most Haunted, when people used to watch it, and Ghost Adventures, and so there's an array of TV programs out there. Now, they've all done the same platform basis. Now, we need to outdo the next. I mean, where show's concerned, we need to do one better than the next. So the D word comes across. I mean, is this more of a commercial aspect or an entertainment aspect rather than a realism?
Personally, in my opinion, I think it's a bit of both, to be honest, because you know, we're human beings, we're curious, we like, you know, delving into things maybe, you know, we shouldn't, or taking interest in stuff that we know is you know, a bit, you know, dangerous. But no, I agree with you, because yeah, there are some shows out there which do use the D word a lot, but also there is a very that, in my opinion, there's a constant battle between good and evil in the spiritual realm of things. And actually my partner who actually opened my eyes more to the D word and paranormal field and oppression, possession, everything. It's very real. I mean, as I'm sure you're aware, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed was demonologist. So you know, I've seen videos of people getting delivered, and I myself actually a couple of years ago actually had deliverance, and I didn't think anything would happen, but apparently I had a mocking spirit in me. That's all gone now. But no, I do think it is a bit of both, to get you know, more views, but in the same way, I don't think it's something to be trifled with, or to be taken as a joke, because it's very real. You know, there are thousands of stories from all around the world of, you know, I mean, The Conjuring, for example, The Exorcist, everything like that. It's a very real threat. But yeah, some people do use it as publicity, which they shouldn't. But at the end of the day, you know, it is what.
If you could put a percentage on it regarding genuine attachment and activity, how much would you say of it is actually more psychological rather than paranormal?
Oh, that's another good one. That's really interesting, because I think it's difficult, because for me, this question kind of borders on the brink of, for example, people suffering with mental illness. I mean, I know there's a few people out there who I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but I know there's a few people out there who believe that mental illness, such as schizophrenia or anything like that, that's that they're suffering with that because they have a demonic attachment. I don't know if that's real or not, but
I have heard about that. I must admit, I've read about that.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well, because I've been a carer for about 5 years now professionally. One time, this person I was looking after, they suffered with schizophrenia, and they believed in Jesus, and they wanted me to pray with them. And so, because they were hearing voices, and I just thought, you know, I might not be able to help them ever again, because I was going to leave soon. And I just said, just say, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, and everything like that. And as soon as we said that, they said the voices had gone. And to me, that was in a way confirmation of yes, so there are some illnesses out there which are kind of, people have attachments. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of this person called Derek Prince. He actually said a person came to him. He was a preacher, and a person came to him and with MS, and he kept praying over them, and apparently they got better. But I'm not saying that's the case for everyone. I'm just saying in those rare instances, it's quite interesting to see that. Is there actually anything, you know, to go by? Because we're actually, I believe this world is very, very spiritually, oh my word, I've forgotten the word, spiritually, you know, connected. We're more spiritually connected to the spirit realm than we actually realize. And this world has a significant, it's got spirits. Basically we're living with spirits all the time, and no one really realizes it. But I really, really do believe that, you know, attachments and everything are very real. Unfortunately, in some ghost programs, like it was proven in Most Haunted, I don't know if you've seen the famous clip of Mary Loves.
I've seen it. Yeah, quite comical.
I wasn't gonna say the rest. I was like, you'll know what I'm about. But no, that was proven to be staged. But I mean, I think those people that do, I mean, when you're in the spotlight like that, I think it's very, you know, it's very easy to give false information, which you know is right, in order to get the views and ratings. But that's not to say that those people that are doing that aren't experiencing paranormal activity. I mean, they must feel quite pressured in a way, because millions tuning in weekly, they need to provide something. But in my opinion, you know, I mean, it's the raw footage, you know. I mean, some people don't understand, don't understand, is that ghost hunting takes a lot of patience in some ways. I mean, the other week I was actually, well, in the kitchen, in the haunted kitchen as I am now, and I sat for about 20 minutes because I felt this energy all around me, and I just sat here with my phone, just really, really patient, and I caught a lot of orbs. So no, you know, there's a lot of patience comes with ghost hunting. I don't know if you found that on some investigations that you've done.
You definitely need to be patient. I mean, we all know these TV programs. We'll have 20 minutes of a TV program. We have everything happening, but in real terms, I mean, you could have been there 2-3 hours and nothing happened at all. Everything is, like these TV programs, everything is condensed into a few minutes. So what they see is the exciting part.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
No, I mean, you mentioned Derek previously with Most Haunted, and with the Mary Loves Dick episode. No, I mean, as we all know, I mean, a lot of people do say Derek was, in a way, pressurized to produce. I mean, I must admit, I did like Derek. I mean, I spoke to him a couple of times online, not personally. And I found him to be a genuine guy. I believed in what he did. But because of producers of such programs, the pressure was on there to produce more and more and more each and every week. And I know from what I understood, from what I've believed of Derek, bless his soul, he was really reluctant to do what he did, but he felt pressurized into doing it. I mean, could be said with all TV programs? I mean, are all TV paranormal producers manipulative as this?
Sorry, I'm a bit too loud there. No, I don't. Well, it's interesting because I mean, from my point of view, I'm not entirely sure about Derek. I don't really know how genuine he was. Um, but he seemed like a lovely person. But you know, I mean, I used to be fascinated with Most Haunted. I used to buy their books and everything, watch them all the time. I used to go countlessly to Lincoln Victorian Prison because they went to Lincoln Victorian Prison, and yeah. But no, I mean it's very interesting, that the whole realm, and I think there is a lot of pressure. But I mean, for example, there's this well-known, apparently fake medium called Teresa Caputo or something. Can't remember. I can't pronounce her surname, but she's called the Long Island medium. She's got yeah, quite unique hair, but she's fake apparently. And I believe also, because I used to go to a spiritual church, and at the end of every service, they used to have a medium do a reading, and I could always tell. It was so interesting. I could always tell by their eyes if they were really connecting to the spiritual realm or not. So if they really were, I noticed their pupils used to dilate a lot. And I remember one time, because this was when I was all new to sensing energy, and I went into the spiritual church. The energy was so immense in there that I generally, like, I nearly fell over. Like, it was just like straight, like, in my face as soon as I went into the door, went through the door. But no, it's yeah, it's interesting because I think, as we said, I think there's a lot of pressure to, it's quite a competitive world, the paranormal
It
world.
is, yes.
You get so many fakes, you get people photoshopping stuff and everything like that. But in my opinion, like, why do that? Like, everyone, I believe everyone is just as interested in what happens after life as the next person. And it's interesting to actually capture raw, real footage, because you're helping people understand throughout the world. You're helping them understand and see something that they necessarily wouldn't even consider. But I'm respectful of people's different beliefs and everything, but to me it's a bit, to be honest, from what I've witnessed, it's just a bit odd. I find it strange that people can't believe there's an afterlife, because there is so many, like, countless stories and recordings and footages and everything all throughout the world of the paranormal realm.
Yeah, I mean, should we really have more activity happening? But I mean, you'll think of human history, a lot more people have died than are alive today. Surely, just by numbers alone, we should be seeing more activity we are getting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we've only just scratched the surface, to be honest, in regards to the paranormal realm. I mean, from, like, obviously you hear of people saying, "Oh, my house is haunted" and everything, but think of all the thousands of paranormal stories that there are in the world. We'll never be able to know absolutely all of them, because that's just kind of impossible, I think.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's very interesting, because, as I said before, it's like the spiritual world is very, very involved in this world, very much so. And people don't really understand how thin the veil is sometimes between this world and the next. And spirits can actually obviously influence decisions, people's thoughts, in some cases, in regards to maybe oppression and even, unfortunately, possession. But no, it's very interesting. I mean, as I said, there's this constant fight between good and evil, and yeah, but obviously people do trifle with things that they don't fully understand. So that's why it's so important to not fake anything, or not make up fake photoshops or anything. It's just so important to record what is actually out there, in order for people to understand, and so
Yeah.
in order for them not to trifle, to understand what they are dealing with. Because nowadays, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, there was this Charlie challenge with the
Oh
pen.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was a load of rubbish.
Like
But
Zozo.
yeah, those exactly, yeah. But I believe that the energy was still there. So the intent, that energy that people feel while doing that might attract something. So even though Charlie challenge and Zozo demon was what was fake, that the hopefully this makes sense. The intent, the energy was still there while people. So that could have invited stuff in without them knowing.
Yeah,
So,
it's a bit like a placebo effect. I mean, it wasn't a paranormal occurrence. It was a scientific experiment where they gave so many patients basically Tic Tacs and so many genuine tablets. And the ones that we had the Tic Tacs also believed they were cured of their ailments. Now, the paranormal world is a bit like that, I believe, in a way as well. I mean, how much of it out there? For example, positive thinking. I mean, we all believe we can move mountains at times. The other day, we can't get out of bed. I mean, it is the power of positive thinking in a way. But I mean, how much of a paranormal world would you say is based on that assumption? I mean, someone says one thing, but another person says another thing. It's like with Zozos and things. It all latches on, and people start to believe it as well.
yeah, I agree with you there. I think some of it is placebo. In regards to, for example, if you tell someone before they enter a building or something, oh, this is haunted, like they do on some ghost walks. Like,
yeah.
They build up your imagination to believe that you'll experience something. So obviously you're not, as I said before, we all have the gift to be spiritually aware, to pick up on stuff. But if you're constantly being told by someone else, oh, don't go in this building, it's haunted by the infamous, there's this thing, like, there are apparently loads of grey ladies on every tourist attraction spot, like, oh, someone jumped off the building because they lost their love or something.
Yeah.
I mean, half of those stories are rubbish, but because of that, because people have that in their minds, that their imagination is going wild. Therefore, I believe it's dumbing down our instincts, our natural instincts. And if we didn't, for example, if we go into a building, no one tells us about anything about that building.
Yeah.
Use your senses. That's what I do anyway. Whenever I used to go to like a haunted place or something, I didn't do any research or anything. I just went in there. I used my intuition. I picked up an energy, and when I did pick up on stuff, I took a note of like what spirits I was sensing and everything. And then it's only after I went there that I did research to clarify what I felt, and I was accurate. Times, because there's this graveyard down the road called Den Hill Cemetery, and I went there, and I was just about to leave the cemetery, and I suddenly got this vision of this man in military uniform staring down at one of the graves, and then I got a child energy and everything, and so I went to the grave where I saw the man in uniform. And this graveyard dates back to the Victorian era, and it actually said on the gravestone, "Killed in action." And then I went to the area where I felt the child energy. There was a child gravestone, and then I got the feeling there was this woman in Victorian clothes. This was the first time I'd gone to the cemetery, so I knew nothing about it. And it turns out when I went to the gravestone, a woman was actually buried there, and she had died in the Victorian era. So, I think in terms of that, I think it's very good to actually just rely on your intuition. But as we were saying earlier, in regards to people using devices and everything, because people are scared of what they probably might uncover about their own spiritual abilities. But I mean, in regards to mediums and everything, it just reminds me of this. See, people think mediums get their source from the D word, but I'm not sure about that, to be honest. Yeah, I'm still unsure. You know, there's a lot of things, like as I've said, we've only scratched the surface of the paranormal spiritual realm.
Yeah. Now, I want to just put in there regarding your ability as an empath. Now, an empath such as yourself, you pick up emotions sometimes by just approach, really. I mean, how do you limit the amount of information you take on board?
It's very, very draining. No, because like as I was saying 2 weeks ago, I just had this. It's weird because like I don't want to sound like kind of like full of myself, but I don't know how else to put it. So my abilities, I became very overcome with the things I was seeing in my head, like seeing people's photos, being able to tell them about their loved ones and everything, and I became quite panicked, actually. And I was saying to my partner and my mom, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. And then they're like, just keep praying. And I'm like, I'm like praying on a daily basis. And then I've got one group of people telling me, oh, you know, that's you know, chuck away your spiritual books and everything, which I actually did last year. But it still kept coming back, no matter how many times I prayed about, Lord, please, I don't know if this is, you know, displeasing for you, because I've heard so many things about psychic abilities are bad. You know, you're you know, you're going against the Bible. But to be honest, I've been praying constantly about this, and my energy, my feeling, my intuition just kept getting stronger and stronger. So I took that as a sign to say, okay, I have got a gift, but at the same time I do need to learn to. At the moment, after 2 of solidly doing readings for people, like, you know, just practicing, you know, not charging them, because I think that's wrong. But you know, just by doing readings, it was just weird. It was just so interesting. But with me, I mean, everyone's different, I believe, with their psychic abilities. But with me, it comes and goes. So I have like a couple of weeks where I'm just into everything. I just practice, you know, harnessing my spiritual abilities and controlling them, because it's very, very draining. And if you're not careful, you're going to get worn out. But I mean, you know, I'm learning to understand. I mean, at the moment, as I said, it comes and goes. My psychic abilities at the moment have gone. Like, I don't know when to return, you know. I mean, I can't pick and choose when it happens. It just sometimes happens, and I just have to go with the flow. But no matter how, it's weird, because I felt bad, because, you know, obviously you're doing a reading for someone and you're very new to this, and then they ask you like, oh, can you pick up on my relative? And then I tell them, you know, I'm very new at this, and then you just have to go with what you're seeing, regardless of what random image you get. And I think, in a way, as going back to how we talked about the fake mediums, I think as you said, pressure, you know, there's always that pressure. Even if you get a number of times, you always have to keep on going. You have to keep that energy going. And I think, in a way, that's why some mediums have kind of made up some stuff. And to be honest, I can understand it from their point of view now.
So, in your opinion, then, Arabella, what is the difference between an empath and a medium and a psychic?
Oh, I don't really know myself, to be honest. I'm still learning, to be honest. I've got a lot to learn, regardless of how many experiences I've had. Well, a medium, I think you get different types of mediums, like communicating and everything. I'm still a bit unsure, to be honest. I don't want to give a wrong answer, because I believe I'm still, you know, spiritually awakening, and I'm on a different level to many others, as they are to me. But Now, I think everyone has their individual gifts. You just need to harness them. I mean, I'm still a bit unsure, to be honest, about mine, because I've seen about uh, two solid apparitions, and I never in my life, I never expect, it's something that you do want to see if you're interested in this stuff, and you think, oh, I'll just see a person walk by, but it happens at the most unlikely times, as it did with me. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I saw a solid apparition, um in the middle of the road, so West Sussex, in the middle of the it was nighttime, sorry, nighttime. We lived in a rural bit in West Sussex, and I was walking the dog at night, and the village we were in again was engulfed by this really heavy energy, and I just felt again someone was watching me. I was down the road from where we used to live, and I saw this man, solid figure, sitting cross-legged in the middle of the road. He had a blue duffel coat on, and my dog Lucy, ironically Lucy, she didn't pay much attention. She probably sees them all the time, and they do say dogs do see stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, there was this man. It was winter as well, so he was sitting cross-legged in the middle of the road, and he turned to look at me. He vanished right in front of my eyes. It was weird because, as I said before, it was like time stopped with activity happening like that. Time, you're kind of in a time warp in a way. And after that, I just froze on the spot. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I burst out crying. I had no idea what to do. And then it was weird. A couple of days later, I was at local. I was just leaving the pub, and then this random guy just held the door open for me. I was like, thank you. And then he, out of all the things he could have said, he said to me, I don't like Barry at night time. That's the place called, especially with all these spirits around.
Ghosts, what's scared of ghosts?
And I was like, oh no, I know. Yeah, that was weird. And I've seen animal spirits as well. My mum's cat died when she was on holiday, and then 2 weeks later I sat at the kitchen writing, and suddenly, yeah, I saw the Siamese cat just looking normal, like walking through the kitchen. It didn't even occur to me at that moment that she had been dead for like 2 weeks. That was kind of freaky, but yeah.
I mean, your gift for Arabella, would you consider it a curse or a blessing?
Oh, I'm not sure yet. Depends what I see in the future. It's difficult because all my life, obviously, I felt a bit unique, and I'm 27 now. I've just learned to accept it. Everyone's unique. But I believe if I use it in the right way, I believe, because I'm, as you gather, I believe in Jesus. I believe I can use my abilities for good.
Yeah.
I can help people, in terms of bringing them comfort, and if I'm drawn to them. But I believe, we can, if we're all, if we have spiritual abilities, if we're ghost hunting, I believe our main purpose of that is to prove to other people and the world that there is such a thing as the afterlife, there is such a thing as negative and good spirits. And in my opinion, we all have to be equipped with the knowledge, to, unless we encounter like a good spirit or bad spirit, we have to be equipped with that knowledge on how to
Yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah. How would you know then, with your empathic abilities? How would you? What kind of vibration would you get from a negative spirit compared to a benevolent spirit?
Just a very, very heavy, very intimidating, very heavy, very not a nice feeling at all. I mean, this actually reminds me of the story of when I did a spirit board for the first time. I said I'll never do one, but curiosity got the better of me. And we were in this room, and they wanted volunteers to do the Ouija board. So I was like, okay, me. And so I did it. And then all throughout that seance, it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible to to be a part of something like that, because you're actually witnessing firsthand up close. It's amazing. But I don't know if I advise people to do it or not. It's totally up to them. But I throughout that seance, I never thought. I never felt, in danger. It's only when it got to around 11 o'clock and at night, and the spirit said it was a 5-year-old girl. And so from my understanding of that, the D word can disguise themselves as children, to lure people in, to oppress them. So I'm still unsure about that, because in my opinion, why would the Lord allow pure innocent children spirits to roam around the earth? But no, I mean, with a good energy, it's all light and open and just friendly, and the contrast is quite apparent. Definitely.
Regarding good v evil, we've seen other movies where it's the forces of good battle the forces of evil. But realistically, if we put one side by side, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference, because they look like you and me. Like I say, God's angels were soldiers, and the demon devils, or the D word, were fallen angels. So in essence, they would look similar to us. And we've really taken it good v evil out of context altogether, because there's good and evil in all of us, isn't there?
Yes, no,
can one live without the other?
I suppose it depends on what path you take, to be honest, in life. I really do believe that, because I've actually witnessed, unfortunately, firsthand this actually goes back to what we were discussing earlier in regards to mental health. Mental health, in regards to I'm talking about addiction. I've witnessed firsthand oppression in someone, and they used to be totally normal and fine, and then gradually, as addiction took them, I remember one time that, like, you can tell when a spirit is clutching onto someone's soul, as it were. That I'll never forget it. Their eyes were pitch black, and I've never ever seen anything like it. And the whole energy, and funnily enough, that was actually in the childhood home. So I believe Lucy fed off that energy. That's why I said previously, like, I wasn't scared of her to start off with, but then as things progressed, things paranormal started happening more. So, and obviously some spirits are drawn to that energy, that they like feed off it, don't they, in order to
Now, the D word again, the demon word. Can demons be the demon word? Can really be a force for good to motivate us in a way?
In regards to fighting it.
Sometimes you need that little kick up the ass to get up and go, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I suppose so, because if we realize that there is a constant threat, that there are D's out there, many D's out there, but I suppose that gives us, our soul, in a way, a purpose to stay on the straight and narrow, because
we all have that ability, don't we? We all have that ability. We know each of us sets a line. We know that's our boundary, and most of us know not to cross that boundary.
Definitely. Once you're aware of that, and once you're aware of that realm, which is very very different and feels very different, in terms of the nice, happy, spiritual, free energy, which the good side spiritual realm is. Once you have in a way experienced or sensed anything demonic, the D word, then you just try, well, at least I hope the majority of people try and stay away from that, because it is definitely not something you want to be trifling in at all. And many people, I believe, they get so, for example, I'll say the D words followers, they get so caught up in, they can do this ability, they can do that ability, but it's actually, in regards to mediums as well, people say, oh, I have a gift and everything, where I don't believe we are given that gift from God. But you, like I said, if you don't have the knowledge, or equipped with that knowledge, you might very, very easily actually be interacting with the bad side of the realm, because they the D was actually an angel of light, and he's very, very good at deceiving people. And that's one of the dangers about working within the spiritual realm in regards to doing a seance, communicating with them, because you just don't know what sort of person you're going to get.
Exactly, like I mentioned before. I mean, the devil can look like you or me, for example. I mean, you could get a little old lady across the road, and she might be as evil as hell. And you could get a tattooed motorcyclist, and he could be an angel in disguise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, when it comes down to seeking help and guidance, I mean, for some, the church, like yourself, is the first place they would turn to. Now, what are your thoughts on people with religious background or an upbringing being more susceptible to paranormal occurrences?
That's interesting, because I've actually asked myself that all my life, because I didn't really understand it. Because I believe that if you if you learn the word of God or something and believe in Jesus, I believe, because there's a constant battle going on in the spiritual realm, good and evil, I believe you're more susceptible. For example, if you have been living in darkness, like drink, drugs, whatever, teenagers and whatnot do. Well, not saying all, but you know what I mean. But I believe if you have lived that sort of life and then you suddenly come into the light, or know more about Jesus, then you are going to get sometimes spiritually attacked, because the attachments, the detachments that you may not have necessarily known about, that have clung on to you, because like I say, there's a constant battle for our souls going on. So yeah, if you are trying to turn away from a life of crime or something like that, then yes, the bad spirits are going to feel threatened. They want to keep your soul for themselves. But in regards to, because if you believe, I suppose Christianity and any other religion for that matter, is you put your faith in something that you can't even see, but you have faith. You just know it's there. You have this feeling in your heart and in your soul that it's there. So if you believe, that means you believe that there is possibly something, waiting for us, like the afterlife. So if you believe in the spiritual realm, because basically that's where my understanding is, that's where God and Jesus, they're spiritual beings. So yes, you are more, in my opinion, you are more susceptible to spiritual occurrences, because you're opening yourself up in a way, even though it's just by prayer or something. There's still that battle going on, if that makes sense.
Now, we've had a question, interesting question from William South here. Do you think the devil is a Christian invention?
Do I think? I no. In my opinion, no, I don't, because that's quite a tricky one, because all my life I've been, I went to church, and everything, so I know about the devil and everything. But I suppose there's a lot of bad in the world, and you've only got to see a number of footages and whatnot from around the world, and countless accounts of demonic activity happening. I mean, how else can you explain that? Like, apart from mental illness, but in regards, mental illness only comes so far. I mean, there was this American policeman, I believe, called Ralph Sarchi, and I think the film it got Eric Banner in as a policeman, Deliver Us from Evil or something. And he started off as a policeman, but then he encountered a possessed man, and then he just switched to paranormal investigation right away. So my answer to that is, in my opinion, there's so much evil in the world. you know, why are there Satanists out there if the devil doesn't exist? Why are there countless stories of people getting possessed and whatnot? So in my opinion, yes, the devil does exist. Yeah.
It's like the old days, for example, go back a few hundred years, you have the witch trials. And I mean, a lot of people, unfortunately, were persecuted for understand from things like, for example, a simple epileptic seizure would be considered demonic. I mean, are we still at the moment in a process of misunderstanding? If that's if I've been better a new word there. I mean, I mean, are we going to look in 200 years' time to look at how we look at paranormal today and thinking, oh, totally backwards, then?
I think every generation or every decade will always have that thought. I mean, for example, in Victorian times, I believe possession has been around forever, and it will remain to do so, just as, you know, good spirits will, you know, battle them and whatnot. But no, I mean, I think it's a very, very interesting, it's a very fine line, I believe, in regards to mental illness and possession, because in a lot of mental illnesses there are traits of someone that would have been possessed, but it's very interesting. I mean, I'm not entirely sure myself, but I think obviously, you know, mental illness like epilepsy, that's to do, I believe that's to do with the brain and everything. I wouldn't say that's possessed or anything, but no, I mean, I'm not even sure myself. I mean, there are so many things out there that we've only scratched the surface of. So yeah.
I mean, Christine A. Parkin has sent an interesting question. I mean, who decides what is actually evil or not?
Who
is
decides?
Is it society?
Well, in terms, like, this is going back to the energy, in my opinion. I mean, for example, if we all use our intuition, I mean, we know, like, you know, with just using our intuition, if we should do something or not, we always get that gut feeling. And I think that's the same as if anyone, like, encounters evil, I believe, because as I said, like, we're all gifted with this ability, but many of us have shut it out because we don't really understand it, or don't really want to just want a simple life without any spiritual complications. But no, I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot to it, and yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's a very tricky thing. I mean, if you just use your intuition, in my opinion, that's good enough. Intuition, many, you know, that's, everyone knows, go with your gut feeling. You know, we know, you know, if we take time to actually listen to what our inner selves are saying to us, then we'll discover that we can actually distinguish good and evil. I mean, we can anyway, but you know, just because, you know, sometimes, you know, it's always pointed out, oh, he's good, he's bad, but just like we've become, as a society, I believe we've become so closed off. We you know, we're so glued to our phones and whatnot. This, we never actually realize we all have so much potential inside of us. We can go with our intuition, and I believe if you go with your intuition, from then you'll hope, maybe possibly you'll be able to experience energy, you'll be able to pick up more stuff. And if you meditate, you know, everything spiritual, it's nourishing your soul. So yeah,
it's like I mentioned before, though, regarding good be evil. I mean, anybody can look like anyone. I mean, misperception, for example, you can see something, like I said before, tattooed. Well, I mean, I've got tattoos, I'm not an evil person. I mean, but then again, you could get someone who dresses like a Sunday school teacher, because they could be the most evil person in the world. I mean, it is perception, isn't it? And people's you never judge a book by its cover, as I say.
Yeah.
Now, sorry,
carry on. Sorry.
That's all right. Now, we know. I mean, for yourself, such as yourself, I mean, on the path of light. I mean, how strong is it? How for you? How positive and strong is the power of prayer for you?
It's very strong, because as with majority of people, you know, when I've experienced trials and tribulations in life, as we all do, there's always one thing that's seen me through, and that is faith.
Yeah.
That is the power of prayer. And even though, you know, even though you might pray for something, and because the spiritual realm doesn't work in our time, it works in their time. And so their time, you know, your prayer or whatnot could not be, you know, won't be answered straight away, you know, and things will unfold. And no, the power of prayer has been very, very important for me. And even though I don't get answers necessarily straight away, I know that the Lord has listened to me, even though it's sometimes frustrating that I don't get an answer straight away. I know, you know, I know He knows that, you know.
Check his emails.
Yeah, yeah. Sign on to Gmail or something, but you know, pandemic from everyone.
Do you believe good deeds get rewarded?
Sometimes, you know, I don't believe that you should just do a good deed to get rewarded.
Yeah.
I believe in helping people, as my line of work, and as I'm a carer. But I believe in just helping people, making people smile, and everything like that. I don't necessarily do. Well, actually, I don't do things to get rewarded at all. I just purely do them because I'm a too caring person.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I don't know if you've seen them yourself, Arabella. I mean, a few years back, there was a bit of a fad going on online YouTube type things where people are going around streets helping the homeless. But it wasn't a genuine thing. It was likes from getting people to follow them and stuff like that. And there's no after effect from it. That to me is not helping people. That's in fact belittling people.
Yeah, no, oh no, it definitely is. I mean, you see these videos on TikTok, and people are just recording these poor homeless people and just buying them like a sandwich, and they feel the need to record it. And
yeah, that annoys me. Does that? That's the cat's the point of that. Do a good deed at your own art and leave it. Yeah.
About helping people, then you wouldn't record it. What's the point in that?
Exactly.
What, to get more likes? No.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a bit like that with paranormal world, isn't it? I mean, people now are too obsessed with projecting their own image in a location and doing live streams rather than actually proper investigation methods.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree.
I mean, for yourself, Arabella, how important is it to maintain that spiritual well-being as opposed to physical well-being? Would you say one's more important than the other?
I would actually say both of them are pretty important, because I would say half of them, well, both of them are pretty important. I mean, while we're on this plane, mental illness and mental health and physical health are very important in order to obviously live a healthy lifestyle, but also like spiritual health is very important as well, because if you don't nourish your soul, then you know what, there's no spark within you. You need to maintain that spark. You need to realize, because as I said, this is going back to what I said previously, when you grow up, you know, when you're young, you have this you're more in tune to the spiritual realm, you're more pure, and throughout the years that goes away, that fades away. But so I think that's really important to maintain that spiritual health. I mean, mind, body, and soul. It's all important, to be honest, and everyone should take care of themselves, really, because even, you know, everyone's gone through such a stressful time, especially in this pandemic, and many people hopefully have actually worked on themselves, like you know, like more exercise. I wish that was true with me, but I've just been eating more chocolate, maybe doing like dog walking. But yeah, but no, it's very important to stay healthy in regards to mind, body, and soul, because at the end of the day, you know, if you're not in good shape, you're not gonna live a fulfilling life or do what you want to do in life.
bit like a car, really. I mean, the soul's a driver and the body's the car. And you got to look
Yeah,
after your top it with oil, keep it running, basically.
vessel.
Yeah. Now we haven't got a lot of time left. We have gone over a little bit now, Arabella. Before we go, I mean, know you're no stranger to putting pen to paper. You're a writer and author. Can you give us a bit of insight on what you've been doing recently and any books you'd like to plug?
You know what I'm gonna say. Well, well, it's annoying because as we know, life gets in the way. And I believe we both write for Supernatural magazine, so I've recently just finished 2 articles for them. One's about messages from loved ones, and the other's actually about one of my haunted stories involving a music box, which suddenly decided to play on its own when I was watching Tim Burton's Beetlejuice at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I actually got rid of that. I actually sold it, but nah. Well, I don't know if it's haunted or not, but it's in a safe place. Not in my flat though. But no, it's it's annoying because, as I said, life gets in the way, and I haven't really had a chance properly to really delve back into the writing realm, as it were. But I am trying, and Love Tie is still in the works. I am actually rewriting it at the moment because I believe that I can do better. So yeah.
Now, finally, for anyone watching right now or on replay later on who believes they may have shared similar activities to yourself, what available help is there out there for people such as yourself, for people who don't want to go to be live streamy type people, want to go someone credible? Is a church the right place to go to?
Yes, yeah. From my experiences, prayer works as well. That's what's helped me, and also Facebook groups like just speaking with like-minded people about spiritual stuff, and they can offer advice and support. And I know sometimes it seems a bit daunting when you're experiencing paranormal activity and you don't really know what to do because it's just so overwhelming, but don't let it overwhelm you, because in regards to what spirit you're dealing with, they might feed off their energy, but just pray, because that's the thing that's really helped me in the past. So just talking to like-minded people. So
so if someone's not religiously minded, you'd recommend talking to someone who would basically willing to listen?
So I actually recommend, because obviously the spiritual realm, as we all know, is a very complex thing, but in regards to if you're experiencing spiritual stuff yourself, if you're unsure about it, best advice is just to speak to like-minded people that have possibly gone through the same thing as you or know something about it, because like I say, you have to be equipped with the knowledge, because the spiritual realm is very real. And I think it's healthy to just have a basic understanding and knowledge of the good and bad side, so if you come across it in life, you know how to deal with it
and keep yourself grounded.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant advice. Now we have come sadly to the end of the show. We have gone over slightly. We don't mind. I don't believe people mind. Last week went over by an hour. But Arabella Belle Rose, I would like to thank you immensely for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I loved it. Thank you.
I've also loved it myself. Now, next show is on Sunday, the 2nd of May. Same time, guest to be announced. So until then, take care, everyone. Stay safe and don't get sunburned. Good night, folks.